How many things in your home did you buy because you truly needed them? And how many came home because they were on sale, looked beautiful, or promised to make your life easier? Now look around. How many of those things are actually making life easier today? There is a simple idea often connected with Japanese decluttering philosophy. A peaceful home is not created only by deciding what to throw away. It begins much earlier, at the moment you decide what is allowed to enter. The reference transcript you shared uses the same broader idea. Less clutter starts by being more selective, not simply by adding more storage. And that gives us one powerful rule. Before anything enters your home, it has to earn its place, not your money, its place. Because every object you buy is asking for something much more valuable than its price. It wants a piece of your home, a piece of your attention, a place to store it, time to clean it, time to organize it, sometimes money to maintain it. And eventually, a decision about what to do with it when you no longer want it. That $20 purchase can become a 5-year responsibility. So before buying anything for your home, ask yourself 3 questions. Where will it live? What problem will it solve? And what will happen to the thing already occupying that space? Those 3 questions sound almost too simple, but use them seriously, and shopping changes completely. Imagine you're standing in a home store, you see a beautiful basket. It's woven perfectly, the color matches your room. It's 30% off. Immediately your mind starts helping the basket. You think, I could put blankets in that. But notice what just happened. You didn't have a blanket problem before seeing the basket. The product created the problem and then offered itself as the solution. This happens constantly. A tray tells you your table needs styling. A container tells you your pantry needs organizing. A lamp tells you your bedroom isn't cozy enough. A chair tells you that empty corner is unfinished. And suddenly, an ordinary home starts feeling like a list of things you haven't bought yet. This is where the Japanese idea of space becomes interesting. In Japanese aesthetics, empty space does not automatically mean something is missing. Sometimes the empty space is part of the design. Think about that for a moment. In many homes, when we see an empty shelf, we think, what should I put there? An empty wall? What should I hang? An empty corner? We need something there. But what if nothing belongs there? What if the space itself is doing something? It's giving your eyes somewhere to rest. It's making the objects you already love easier to notice. It's allowing movement. It's allowing light. It's allowing the room to breathe. And once you understand that, the question changes. You stop asking, what can I put here? You start asking, would this object improve the space more than the empty space already does? That's a much harder test. And honestly, most random purchases fail it. Here's a perfect example. You find a decorative vase, beautiful shape, beautiful color. You can already picture it on your console table, so you buy it, you bring it home, then you realize the table already has a lamp, a candle, 2 books, and a photo frame. The vase doesn't complete the table, it crowds it. Now you have 2 choices: return the vase, or begin rearranging your home to justify the purchase. And this is where one unnecessary object starts creating work. You move the books, then the books need another shelf. That shelf is full. So you buy a basket. Now the basket needs a place. This is how clutter often grows, not through one huge mistake, through tiny chains of reasonable decisions. One thing needs another thing, then another, and 6 months later, you're watching organization videos, trying to fix a problem you accidentally purchased. So here's the first part of the rule. Before you buy it, decide exactly where it will live. Not approximately. Not, somewhere in the kitchen. Not, I'll find a place. Exactly where. If it's a blender, where will the blender sit? If it goes inside a cabinet, what is currently inside that cabinet? If it's a chair, where will that chair stand? If it's another blanket, where will you store it when you're not using it? If it's wall decor, which wall? If it's a new pair of shoes, which exact space in your entryway or closet? The moment you force yourself to answer that question, fantasy becomes reality. Because in the store, you're thinking about the object. At home, you have to think about the system. That's the difference. An object can be beautiful alone and still be wrong for your home. And there's another trap here: storage. Storage products might be one of the easiest things to overbuy because they feel responsible. You don't feel guilty buying an organizer. You feel productive. Look at me. I'm fixing my life. But sometimes you're not organizing your possessions. You're simply buying more possessions to manage your possessions. Before buying another storage box, ask a brutal question. What exactly am I storing? Then take that category out. If half of it can leave, you may discover that you never needed the box. Maybe your bathroom doesn't need another organizer. Maybe it needs 12 nearly empty bottles removed. Maybe your kitchen doesn't need a bigger pantry shelf. Maybe it needs expired food and duplicate ingredients cleared out. Maybe your wardrobe doesn't need another rack. Maybe you simply don't wear 30% of what's already hanging there. The smartest organizer is sometimes an empty space. And that brings us to the second question. What problem will this purchase actually solve? Be specific. Not it'll make the room nicer. What problem? If you're buying a lamp because a reading corner is too dark, that's clear. If you're buying a shoe rack because shoes are blocking the entryway every evening, that's clear. If you're buying curtains because sunlight is waking you too early, that's clear. But if the answer is simply, it's cute, that's not automatically wrong. Beauty matters. Enjoyment matters. Your home doesn't have to become a laboratory where every object proves its productivity. But even beautiful things should have a reason for being there. Maybe the reason is, every time I see this painting, I feel happy. Good, that's a real function. But there's a difference between an object that brings genuine pleasure and an object that was exciting for 12 minutes in a store. The problem is that buying creates a little burst of possibility. For a moment, you're not buying a cushion. You're buying the idea of becoming the person whose sofa always looks beautiful. You're not buying new jars. You're buying the idea of becoming someone with a perfectly organized kitchen. You're not buying exercise equipment. You're buying the idea of becoming someone who exercises every morning. We're often shopping for identities, not objects, and that's why some purchases feel so exciting before we buy them and strangely ordinary afterward. The fantasy disappears, the object remains. Here's a test. Whenever you strongly want something for your home, finish this sentence. I believe my life will be better after I buy this because. Then listen to your answer. If you say, because I'll finally organize everything, be careful. One container probably won't transform your habits. If you say, because my room will finally look finished, ask who decided it was unfinished. If you say, because this will motivate me, ask whether you're buying a tool or purchasing motivation you haven't built yet. And if you say, I don't know, I just really like it, that's useful too. At least now you're making an honest decision. There's no need to turn shopping into guilt. The goal isn't to buy nothing. The goal is to stop buying unconsciously. That's a very different thing. A simple home is not an empty home. It's a home where the objects have been chosen deliberately. And if you enjoy ideas like this, practical Japanese-inspired habits that make everyday life calmer and easier, you'll probably enjoy this channel, because that's exactly what we're exploring here. Now, the third question is where the rule becomes powerful. What will this new item replace? This question immediately creates a boundary, because your home has limits. Closets have limits, drawers have limits, shelves have limits, even large houses have limits. But our desire to buy rarely respects those limits. So instead of allowing storage to expand every time possessions expand, reverse it. Let the space decide the quantity. You have one shelf for mugs, then that's the mug limit. If a beautiful new mug enters and the shelf is full, one mug leaves. You have one drawer for towels, that's the towel limit. You have one section for cleaning products, that's the limit. You don't automatically buy a bigger container because the category grew. The container is the boundary. This sounds restrictive until you experience the opposite. Without boundaries, every category quietly expands. 5 mugs become 11, 3 blankets become 7, 6 cleaning products become 17, 1 decorative candle becomes an entire candle neighborhood. Nothing seems excessive individually. The problem is total volume. And here's what makes this rule especially useful. It forces comparison. Imagine you're holding a new frying pan. Instead of asking, do I like this? Ask, do I like this more than one of the pans I already own? Completely different question. If the answer is yes, great, upgrade. Replace the old one, but if you're not willing to remove any current pan to make room for this one, perhaps you don't need the new pan as much as you thought. Try this with clothes. A new jacket? Which jacket would it replace? A new pillow? Which pillow leaves? A new vase? Which decorative object comes off the shelf? A new kitchen gadget? Which gadget gives up its space? Suddenly, buying becomes editing, and good homes are edited. Think about a beautiful photograph. What makes it beautiful isn't only what's inside the frame, it's what's been excluded. The photographer decides what doesn't belong. Your home works the same way. Every object you allow in changes the composition. Now there's one category where this rule can save you an incredible amount of money. Things bought for your future self. The bread maker you'll use someday. The elaborate serving set for dinners you rarely host. The juicer for the health routine you're planning to start. The craft supplies for the hobby you might develop. The storage furniture for things you haven't even accumulated yet. Future self-purchases are seductive because they're filled with hope. And again, hope isn't bad. But before buying for the person you hope to become, look at the person you actually are. What do you do on a normal Tuesday? Not your ideal Saturday. A tired Tuesday. That's your real life. If you hate cooking after work, will a complicated kitchen appliance really get used 3 nights a week? If you currently read 5 pages before falling asleep, do you need another 12 books on your nightstand? If you've never hosted 10 people for dinner, do you need 20 matching glasses because one day you might? Buy for your current life first. Let your future self prove that they need more. This is surprisingly freeing, because you're no longer required to equip every possible version of yourself. You don't need to be prepared for every hobby, every guest, every trend, every imaginary emergency. Your home can serve the life happening now, and when your life changes, your home can change with it. Another trap is discounts. This one gets almost everyone. You see something you mildly want, then you see the red sticker, 40% off. Suddenly, mild interest becomes urgency. Now you're not thinking, do I need this? You're thinking, I could save $40. No, you only save $40 if you were definitely going to buy it anyway. Otherwise, you spent $60. A discount can reduce the price. It cannot create a need, so try this question. If this were full price, would I still want it? If the answer is immediately no, you're probably attracted to the deal, not the object. And if you're shopping online, there's an even better habit. Don't buy immediately. Put it in the cart. Then close the app. Come back tomorrow. Not because 24 hours contains magic, because desire has temperature. At the moment of discovery, it's hot. Everything feels urgent. By tomorrow, the emotional temperature drops, and once excitement cools, usefulness becomes easier to see. You'll be amazed how many "I need this" purchases become "Why was I even looking at that?" And for larger home purchases, wait longer. A table, a cabinet, a rug, an appliance. Anything that occupies serious space deserves serious thought. Measure first. Tape the dimensions on the floor if you have to. Live with that outline for a day. Walk around it. Open the doors near it. See whether movement becomes awkward. Because furniture does not live in product photographs. It lives in rooms with doors, people, pets, cables, vacuum cleaners, and badly placed power outlets. The store sells you the object. You have to live with the geometry. Now here's something people rarely calculate. The true cost of an object is not the price on the label. Let's say you buy a decorative item for $25. Cheap, but now it sits on a shelf. You move it every time you dust. You clean around it. You eventually get tired of it. You put it in a closet. 2 years later, you find it while decluttering. Now you have to decide whether to donate it, sell it, recycle it, or throw it away. That $25 object also cost attention, maintenance, storage, and one future decision. Multiply that by hundreds of objects. This is why a crowded home can make people feel strangely tired, not because every object is consciously demanding attention, but because your environment is full of little unfinished relationships. This belongs somewhere. That needs cleaning. This needs repairing. That should probably be donated. This doesn't fit. I need batteries for that. Where's the charger for this? Every possession creates a tiny thread connecting it to your mind. A few threads are nothing. Thousands feel like noise. So before purchasing, ask another useful question. Am I willing to care for this? Not just own it, care for it. A wooden table may need maintenance. White fabric may need more cleaning. A complicated coffee machine may need regular descaling. A plant needs light and water. A pet-friendly rug needs vacuuming. A beautiful object that demands more care than you're willing to give will eventually stop feeling beautiful. This is also why cheap objects can become expensive. Buy something poor quality 3 times, and you may spend more than buying one reliable item once. There's a Japanese word many people know, mo-tei-nai. It's difficult to translate perfectly with one English word, but it expresses regret over waste and the feeling that something valuable should not be used carelessly. And you can apply that idea before purchasing. Not only don't waste the thing, also, don't waste the material. Don't waste the money. Don't waste the storage. Don't waste the labor that made it. And don't buy something casually if you already suspect it may become trash. That doesn't mean everything must last 50 years. Sometimes inexpensive is completely appropriate. But the question becomes, am I buying this because it serves me, or because buying has become the easiest answer? Because often, the best solution isn't purchasing. Sometimes you can repair what you own, move something from another room, borrow an item you'll use once, use one object for 2 purposes, remove something that's creating the problem, or simply wait and discover that the problem wasn't serious enough to solve. Imagine your entryway is messy. The first instinct is to buy a bigger shoe cabinet, but count the shoes first. You discover 8 pairs haven't been worn for a year. Remove those. Suddenly, the cabinet you already have works perfectly. Problem solved for $0. Your kitchen counter feels crowded. You think you need shelves, but 3 appliances sitting there are used once a month. Move them. No shelf required. Your bathroom drawer is overflowing. You browse organizers, then you discover duplicate products, empty packaging, and things you stopped using months ago. Again, the problem wasn't lack of storage. The problem was excess inventory. This is why the best time to declutter isn't only when your house becomes messy. Declutter for 30 seconds before you buy. Just imagine the new object entering the room. Where does it go? What moves? What leaves? What maintenance appears? If you can't answer those questions, don't buy yet. Not never, yet. That one word removes the feeling of deprivation. You can always buy it later, and that's important because modern shopping is designed to make later feel dangerous. Only 3 left. Sale ends tonight. Someone else has this in their cart. Limited edition. Flash deal. The message is always the same. Decide now. But a calm home is built by people who are comfortable saying, maybe. Maybe is powerful. Maybe means the product doesn't control the timing of your decision. You do. And here's another rule I'd add for anything decorative. Don't buy decor because you're bored with the room. First, remove something. This sounds backward, but try it. When a room feels stale, we usually add new cushions, new art, new candles, new accessories, but remove 3 things first. Clear one surface, move one piece of furniture, let more light in, then look again. Sometimes what you thought was a boring room was simply a visually tired room. It didn't need more personality, it needed less competition. And if after removing things the room genuinely feels like it's missing something, now you can choose carefully. One meaningful object will have much more impact in a calm space than 5 new things placed among 20 old ones. This works beautifully with souvenirs too. Instead of buying an object everywhere you go because you feel you're supposed to bring something home, ask, will I actually want to see this 5 years from now? The memory already belongs to you. You don't have to physically store every memory. Sometimes a photograph carries the experience better than an object you eventually hide in a drawer. And gifts? That's harder, because buying rules become complicated when emotion enters. But remember this, a gift should not become an obligation before it's even given. If you're buying for someone else's home, consider their space. Don't give a large decorative object simply because you love it. Their home isn't an extension of your taste. Consumable gifts can be wonderful for this reason. Food, tea, coffee, flowers. something useful, something enjoyable that doesn't require permanent storage. That's a form of respect for another person's space. Now let's make this rule practical. Imagine you're shopping tomorrow. You pick up something for your home. Before going to checkout, stop. Give yourself 10 seconds and ask, where will this live? What problem does it solve? What will it replace? If you can't answer the first question, put it back for now. If you can't answer the second, you're probably buying desire rather than utility. If nothing will leave, and the category is already full, recognize what you're choosing. You're not buying one object, you're expanding the category. Sometimes that's fine, but make it conscious. Then ask one final question. Would I rather have this object or the space it will occupy? That may be the best question of all, because space has value. An empty drawer is useful, an empty shelf is useful, a clear countertop is useful, an open floor is useful, a closet with room between clothes is useful. We tend to think empty space is wasted, but empty space makes everything else easier. You can find things, clean faster, put groceries away without rearranging 20 items, hang clothes without forcing them between hangers, bring something new home without creating a crisis. Empty space is not wasted capacity, it's flexibility. And flexibility makes a home feel calm. There's a reason an expensive store rarely displays every product it owns on one table. Space gives objects importance. Yet at home we often do the opposite. We put everything we own where we can see it, then wonder why the room feels restless. You don't need to become a minimalist. You don't need a perfect Japanese apartment. You don't need to throw away half your belongings. You only need to become a better gatekeeper. Your front door is a filter. Every shopping bag crossing that door changes your home. So make entering harder. Not physically harder, mentally harder. Give objects a small interview before you hire them. Where are you going to live? What job are you doing? Who are you replacing? How much work are you going to create for me? That sounds funny, but think about it. If an object can't answer the interview, why are you giving it permanent residency? And here's the strange thing. Once you start doing this, you may actually enjoy the things you buy more, because instead of 10 average purchases, you make one considered purchase. You wait for the right lamp, the right chair, the right pan, the right artwork, and when it finally comes home, there's already a place waiting for it. No guilt, no stuffing, no where am I going to put this? It belongs. That's the difference between collecting things and building a home. A home doesn't need to contain everything you can afford. It should contain what supports the way you want to live. So tonight, try something simple. Don't declutter the whole house. Don't buy containers. Don't order anything. Just choose one area where purchases tend to accumulate. Maybe your kitchen, your wardrobe, your bathroom, your living room. Look at what you already own and notice which things earned their place and which things slipped in without much thought. Then the next time you want to buy something, pause before you bring it across the threshold. Where will it live? What problem will it solve? What will it replace? And would you rather own it or keep the space? Do that consistently, and something interesting starts happening. You stop needing dramatic decluttering weekends because less unnecessary stuff enters in the first place. Your shelves become easier to manage. Your cabinets stop overflowing. Cleaning becomes faster, organization becomes simpler, and your home gradually stops feeling like a storage unit for every version of you that existed, might exist, or briefly walked through a sale aisle. It starts serving the person who actually lives there today. That's the real rule. Before anything enters your home, make it earn its place. Not because owning things is bad, not because empty homes are better, but because your space is valuable, your attention is valuable, your time is valuable. And every object you bring home should give enough back to deserve all three. So the next time you're standing in a store with something in your hand, don't ask only, can I afford this? Ask, can my home afford this? Those are two completely different questions, and your answer might save you money, but more importantly, it might save you space. And sometimes, space is the thing you were trying to buy all along.